Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Victor.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Olivia. And this is the podcast where you might hear a baby screaming in the background.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I dreamt I had a soul to keep. And if I die before I wake, will that dream just go on for its own sake?
Hey.
Hola.
Hello.
How is life as new parents, you guys?
You know what? Surprisingly, not that bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, the baby's in your lap right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's
There
just
she is.
hanging out. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
well, fourth mic.
Yeah, you might hear some cooing.
Some
in the
cooing.
background. Yeah. She makes a lot of little sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might have just gotten one of those trick babies that makes you want like 10 more babies.
Yeah.
But like she sleeps. She has slept this whole time. We've been sleeping.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not so difficult, you know?
No, that's great. We
Lots
should
of-
get that message out there. Parenthood, not as hard as it sounds.
I was
Not
just
so
gonna say,
bad.
like, don't expect that going into it. I don't think that's how it usually goes. And not to rub it in, but yeah, I think we got kind of an easy baby.
Yeah. So far, I guess we've been learning a little bit about like developmental stages, and I guess they have periods as they get older where they get really, really fussy for a bit, and then they because their brain is growing faster than they can handle, and they're like, new sounds and sensations.
Mhm.
And then so they get really fussy for a little bit, and then they like come out of that with like some new baby skills. They like unlock some tech tree in their baby
Some
systems
tech
or
tree.
whatever. Yeah.
It's usually just like they can move their tongue in a new direction, or like they can screech now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so precious.
Yeah, she's really cute.
Yeah. Super cute baby.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I didn't see her in your lap for half a second because your lighting is just a little different in this
Dim.
room.
Yeah.
You know,
Let me turn on
Yeah. Yeah, we moved. Oh yeah, we can turn on the overheads.
it was not going to
Yeah, we
disturb
moved
her.
our
yeah.
little. No, she sleeps through all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I thought she was a little pillow in your lap, and then I was like, "Why are you guys talking in like quiet NPR voices?"
Oh, are we talking quiet? You know, we actually we didn't bother being quiet around her at all, and I think that has been good because she sleeps through anything.
Yeah, she like the dogs barking doesn't bother her at all. Like she's good with just about every noise in the house except for our doors. They're like new doors, and I guess she didn't hear those in the womb as much. And so like whenever we close one of our doors, she's like,
She's like, what's that?
Just leave them
Everything else,
open.
though.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I'm happy for you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I mean, happy in general, but then an extra level of happy that it's that so far so good. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm sure there will be many challenges and times that are difficult, but so far her default state has been pretty chill. She's a pretty chill baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my parents had it went in the other order for them. I was the first one, and I think I was pretty difficult. And then my sister came along and was a lot more like yours. Like they just had to suggest, like just lightly pat a pillow, and she would go and lay her head on it and go right to sleep.
She really likes it when we burp her. Like if I throw her over my shoulder and pat her back, she finds that very soothing. Even if she doesn't need it, she just likes to be up there.
Mhm.
Likes the rhythmic patting.
She'll
Sit
kind
it
of
at.
yell at us when she wants something. She doesn't really cry that much, but she'll just be like, humans.
You over there, uppy.
She gets the hiccups a lot, and she doesn't like her hiccups, and she wants us to do something about it, but we can't do anything.
Yeah, she thinks we can solve that problem for her, but we just can't.
Yeah.
So she yells at us about her hiccups a lot.
Which you remember her getting hiccups like in the womb. Like, I guess you can feel that. You'd be sitting there and you'd be like, oh, She's got hiccups again.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a weird sensation.
It feels exactly like you'd think it would.
Like a hiccup, but lower.
It feels like there's hiccups happening inside of you, but they're not yours.
That's weird. I thought hiccups had to do with air.
Yeah, they
I think
have
it's
to
like
do
a
with
breathing rhythm thing.
yeah, like it has to do with like how your lungs and your diaphragm being like out of sync or something. I think.
I don't know. It's a biological mystery.
They do like practice breathing when they're in the womb. They're not like technically like breathing because there's fluid, but they're like practicing the motions of it. So
Man,
they get hiccups.
the miracle of life is so trippy.
Yeah. Man, it is.
I thought you were going to go into a whole thing there, but yeah, it is.
I mean, I started thinking about when she came out, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, all is well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And did you block out from your memory the experience of home birth?
No, it did not go according to plan.
No,
several curveballs.
Yeah, she threw us quite a few curveballs. But yeah. So we ended up transferring to the hospital. It wasn't an emergency. It just was taking a really long time. Mm-hmm. I was in labor for like 36 hours at home. So like it started early in the morning, and then we were up all through the night and then all through the next day. Yeah. And the problem was that it wasn't progressing. So like for like 8 hours during the day, it was like the contractions were not getting closer together. And like we could have probably continued doing that for another day, but I was so exhausted and like it just things were not moving along. So
yeah,
I was like, give me the drugs. That's what I said. And yeah.
Plus you're paying the doula by the hour, and it was like racking up. No, I don't know.
Luckily, that's not how that works. But yeah, I think everyone was really exhausted at that point. I also like there's a stage of labor called transition where it's like you're moving into like, okay, now things are happening like quickly and baby is coming soon. And it's the worst part of labor. It's like very intense, and like that's when people who are in labor tend to like want the epidural or like say they can't do this or like kind of have a meltdown or whatever. And I don't really know why this was happening, but like I felt like I was experiencing that several times, and like the doula and the midwife both like thought I was in transition several times. And so I was getting like talked through, this is the worst part, like your baby's coming soon, over and over again. It happened like 4 or 5 times. And like at one point it was just the doula there, and she was like, okay, things are happening. And she called the midwife, and the midwife came, and then everything slowed down. And then at another point, the midwife was like, okay, things are happening. And she called the birth assistant, and the birth assistant like showed up at 3 a.m, bought everyone coffee, and then went home because things slowed down again.
Oh God.
And yeah, it was just it was pretty like discouraging to feel like I was
that like, sounds brutal to keep
over the peak.
To keep hearing like, oh no, sorry, actually this is the worst part.
Yeah.
This is as bad as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
It ended up being 40 plus hours of labor. Closing in on 2 days when it happened.
Yeah. So we went to the hospital, and like I am glad we were there because like I was able to I got an epidural, and I was able to sleep, and I needed that at that point. I was so exhausted.
Yeah.
Like unfortunately, some of the things I was worried about happening if we went to the hospital did happen, and it was like the actual birth itself was like kind of traumatic, and
can confirm.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. So Yeah, the thing that the reason why I didn't want to do the whole like medicated birth in the first place is because the medication that they use to move contractions along can like cause fetal distress and like can make things, I don't know, like it usually leads to other interventions, which ended up happening, and I had to have like a vacuum assisted birth, which was really intense. And then there was like an emergency that happened right at the very tail end that is not very common. And it's like basically she got stuck after her head was out, but she was like stuck, like her shoulder was stuck. It's called a shoulder dystocia. And yeah, they have to like, I don't know, how would you describe what they did, Victor?
They went to the broom closet and got a Hoover.
How would I describe it? You know how Caesar died?
By getting stabbed?
Yeah, a bunch of people jumping him with knives.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like that.
Oh, God. But without the knives?
Without the knives, just like nurses descending upon Olivia, and it was like weirdly violent. I don't know. It was bad. Everyone's in a panic when something like that happens because like the baby is stuck, the baby's in trouble, needs to happen really fast, or at least something needs to happen, and it probably could have gone differently than it did. But what it ended up being was a bunch of people running in and trying to yank this baby out, and Olivia was in a lot of pain. And it was really, really scary. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause they just need more than one pair, or more than a couple of pairs of hands. So like,
see, yeah, and those
unstuck the
couple
shoulders.
pairs of hands have to go inside me. So
Yeah.
It was
that would be brutal if that's how Caesar died. Yeah, that's not. But the reason I asked if you blocked it out, because that's like that period of time. Isn't there like a biological, like evolutionary function that causes women memory lapses during that, like the worst part, so that they will have more children?
I hear that like over time after you give birth, you don't remember
Like exactly how bad it was.
Yeah, and there's there's biological forces that drive you to propagate the species again.
Yeah. I thought I heard it described at one time as some like form of mild amnesia.
I will say right here for the record on this podcast, so that you can quote me later, it was very painful, and afterwards immediately afterwards I was like, I don't want to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
So you can quote me later when I'm like, oh, let's have another baby.
Pull up episode 50, whatever this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. I don't know, like when they give you the drugs, you have to like consistently be pressing a button to tell the machine to keep like numbing you.
Mm-hmm.
And Olivia, like intentionally or not, I don't know if it was like partly you were wanting to be less medicated going into pushing, or if you just weren't even thinking about it.
I intended to have an unmedicated birth, and like by the time I was pushing, my epidural had worn off and I could feel my contractions, and I was already pushing, and it was like, okay, this is what I got my rest. Like, this is what we're here for. I'm going to do this. Like, I can feel it and I want to do it. And your pushing is more effective when you can feel what you're doing,
That makes sense.
And you're less likely to tear. And like, there's a lot of reasons why you might want to do it that way. And so I did not push that button.
Yeah. And so you were really close to being able to have like the kind of birth that you wanted to have, but then right at the tail end, they were like, no, this is too risky for the baby. They ran in with a vacuum, which the way they were using it was pretty aggressive and
I was.
you were in a lot of
That caught
pain
me
from
off
that.
guard. I did not think that that's how that tool was supposed to be used. Like my understanding was that like the vacuum is meant to like assist while you're pushing, and like I can confirm because I looked this up afterwards. That is how it's supposed to be used. They're supposed to like gently add more force while you're pushing. But this OB was like really, she was aggressive with everything she did, honestly. And like, she like was really like yanking on this vacuum like the whole time, even while I wasn't pushing. And it just like, it was very painful, and I was really freaked out at that point.
Yeah, and our doula, who's obviously been to many births, also said like from her perspective, it seemed like pretty aggressive, pretty forceful for how those tools should be used. It's not really the intended way to operate there. But
is it like a?
But so then, sorry, guys.
Is it like a wider mouth on this vacuum? So I'm picturing like a vacuum, like a shop vac.
It's got a little
Think
suction
of like
cup
a toilet plunger
that gets like popped under the baby's head.
Okay.
And then basically like as Olivia's pushing, that you've got the doctor there that's able to like kind of add some extra force by pulling, like essentially like you said, like a plunger, right? And so it's like you're helping pull the baby out as the baby's being pushed out. But the way this doctor operated, they just like popped it in there and started yanking and shaking the thing around.
Sounds
like,
terrifying.
And not really working with Olivia at all. It didn't seem like. And then there was a shoulder dysplasia, and so then everyone panicked and people were running in and grabbing Olivia and yelling at Olivia, and Olivia was screaming and crawling away up the bed, and it was fucking scary, man. I don't know. It was
yeah, it sounds terrifying. I've never heard of this
terrifying.
device. It sounds like
usually that's supposedly one of the less invasive things they can do there with the section.
It is one of the biggest risk factors for a shoulder dystocia, though. When used incorrectly, it can cause a shoulder dystocia, which is an emergency.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So
it's a fairly rare issue too. I think it's like 1 in 200 births result in that. But so then, so Olivia's screaming and they're yelling at her to cooperate, and they're yanking the baby out. And then they got Violet out, gave her to Olivia for like a second, and then snatched her up and ran her over to like there's like a little check station for like if the birth doesn't go very well, the NICU team.
Yeah.
And then they ushered me over to like be able to see what was going on with the baby while that was happening. And then this nurse, like this NICU nurse, like starts talking at me, and it starts telling me like, you know, you've just been through a trauma. That was really fucked up what just happened to you. And Olivia's going to be fine. She's going to forget about all of this, but you're going to have to carry the burden of what you just saw for the rest of your life.
I thought you were going to tell me, Victor, that nurse was like moonlighting as a therapist. Like, you just went through a lot. Here's my card.
That was fucking weird, man. I don't know.
I remember.
Don't say that to me.
I remember it.
Yeah, and definitely worse for her than it was for me. Let's just get that out there. Definitely a worse experience for Olivia than it was for me.
She has that amnesia I'm talking about.
I think that's what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to forget that. That was like fucked up enough to like penetrate through that, I think. Because I was not like an active participant in what was happening there at the end. It was like all happening to me, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And it everything just took such a turn there. Like, I really don't think that that's what they, like, I can see how you might forget like how much contractions suck, you know?
Yeah. That's the thing, is like getting your consent and your participation and cooperation with the whole process is like super important for you not having a traumatic experience. And when we were doing it at home, they took it seriously here. Yeah. They really wanted to do informed consent and explain to you why everything was happening. And then when we got to the hospital, they took it really seriously there. Every time anybody did anything to Olivia, they said, is it okay if we do this? We're going to do this. Is that all right with you? Here's why we're doing this. All the way up until this
That one
last like
doctor.
this last part, and then it was like fucking throwing Olivia around and doing whatever needs to be done, like no communication, no consent, just like, all right, we're gonna rip this baby out, best of luck to you. And
Yeah, and also like I had a pretty serious tear too, and like they had to immediately start stitching me up, and this midwife was going on and on about how this OB who just like ripped your baby out, she's the best at stitching people up. She's like, I've never
'Cause she
seen
has to do it all
anybody
the
be
time.
so
that's right.
right. Yeah, she went on and on like. I've never seen tears heal so well when this OB does it, because she is so good at this. And it's like, yeah.
It's like saying that
Yeah.
this server at this restaurant is awesome at cleaning up broken glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are fine now, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna say pretty much everything else that happened at the hospital was positive, right? Like,
Yeah.
we liked the majority of the staff was great. It was really just like that one doctor seemed to have kind of like I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get this done quickly and then patch you up later kind of attitude about the whole thing, and that made everything really terrible
And
for
that,
the whole
like,
time you were working with her.
That is the problem. Like, that is why I didn't want to go to the hospital, because like you can be like intend to go to the hospital and like intend to have a certain OB deliver your baby, but like if you are going into spontaneous labor, it literally doesn't matter, because you're gonna get the OB who's on call that day. So like you don't have control over like who you have, and like, yeah, I didn't really have a say in who was going to be delivering the baby, which obviously is a risk with like home birth too, because you might end up having to transfer, or you might choose to transfer like we did. So, but anyway, the baby's like fine. Everyone is okay now. And my tear healed so fast and I'm feeling great. So
Awesome.
but yeah, so anyway, Zach, what's new with you?
Not as much as that. It's funny, like the day before you texted me that you were ready to record again, I was just telling Shelby that I was afraid that once you held your baby, like once it was a tangible reality, you would see how like insignificant a podcast was and you wouldn't want to do it anymore.
No.
But yeah, no, I've just been plugging along out here in Colorado. It's weird because everything feels totally different and new, and therefore like there are like monumental updates, but they're all like, my environment is new, my situation is new, but I don't know. It's almost like a starting over in some ways.
Well, how do you feel? Like, you're in a totally different headspace, and like you were like on a totally different track, and now you're in a new place, new environment, a whole new set of circumstances. Like,
yeah, and
what is that doing for you?
Yeah, and it's kind of deja vu, since I'm back at where I used to live.
Are you in the same city?
No, I'm staying with Shelby's family in Arvada, which is a suburb of Denver, where I live.
Yeah, I guess I was just wondering if you were like close to people that you know.
Well, everyone I know
getting
from
to
here,
reconnect with stuff.
everyone I know from here moved years ago.
Okay.
Like around the same time I moved out, we all got priced out together.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like can't go home again, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's exactly the same, but it's totally different.
Yeah.
It is crazy how like time revolves around my boobs now.
Yeah.
It's like, is it boob o'clock, or is it the time between boob o'clock?
it always did. It was always like that for Victor.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet time is real weird now, because it always is whenever something big happens. But now,
Yeah.
But now you have like, you're probably measuring it in like days and weeks.
We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of counting every week with her, I keep being like, oh, she's almost 2 weeks. Oh, she's almost 3 weeks.
She's almost a month old already. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
She's going to be a month old on Thursday, right?
Technically Wednesday
Technically
at
Wednesday.
11:54 p.m.
Yeah.
That's have you already done her birth chart?
Yes, but I need to explore it a little more. We have a little Capricorn baby. We were expecting a December baby, and we weren't sure if we were going to get a Sagittarius or a Capricorn, but we have a January Capricorn.
Yep.
One day I'll know what those things mean.
Are you gonna like do the whole birth chart out and then put it in like a time capsule and then see if it like matches up to who she becomes in 18 years?
Yeah, that's not
There's
a
an
bad
idea.
idea.
What about who I become? I'm still becoming. Who am I going to
not
be
anymore.
when I grow up?
Not anymore. You're done. You're a
I'm
dad
locked
now.
in.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Once you're dead, that's it.
I should have baked a little longer before we did this. I had a little growing left to do.
Where do your dreams come from? And what do they really mean? What do they really mean?
Ultimately, I think this period of time is like going to be like an incubation period. Like I've been so focused on forging forward for so long. I think this like, I don't know, this period of rest and focus or refocus, I think will ultimately yield something important for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
job wise, because I don't know. I just feel like that, you know, they say to get something you've never had before, you got to do something that you've never done before. And I always interpreted that as like, oh, I got to take more risks, or like, I got to move to LA, or like, you know, some big move like that. But one thing I've never done before is sit still and like meditate on stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's valuable.
Yeah. I think that's a great perspective to have for where you're at. right
Yeah.
now.
Because I've been having a lot of time to write and do music and exercise, and all this stuff is like good for the soul.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's great.
I also quit drinking, which is a pretty big change, or pretty.
That's awesome.
That kind of coincided with this with all these other shifts. It was just time to make that change. You know, I've talked about it or dreamt about it in past episodes, and yeah, boy, has it led to a lot more dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm sleeping sober every night, which means dream city for your boy. Let's see, I'm 84 days into it.
Nice.
And I also got I got this planner here for the new
Ooh.
year that I'm keeping track of all kinds of stuff like workouts and, you know, good habits and stuff. But I'm also using it as a dream journal.
Very cool.
That's one of my daily habits that I'm trying to enforce over here. Yeah, it's been good. It will be good for the pod.
Yeah, I think we're all discounting that, like, the podcast is going to take off like crazy. You know, this will be our new job.
Yeah.
We're always fretting over what our job is going to be, Zach. It's going to be this. We're already doing it.
That's true. We just gotta get paid for it.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that part.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Manscaped or MeUndies or whatever.
Whatever happened to, like, wealthy patrons of the arts? Like, can we get, like, a Koch brother to just come in and fund this, like, just for fun? Or, I don't know, like a Mark Cuban? Is he into dreams? What can how do you just get, like, one rich guy to, you know?
I think we have to start going to fancy parties and just interpreting people's dreams.
Just crash fancy parties.
Yeah. We need to convert them into believers.
Here's what you do. You start like a dream interpretation booth as like a wedding vendor. Like, you know how sometimes they'll have like a tarot card reader at the wedding
Mm-hmm.
or at the bar mitzvah or whatever it is. You just get a little booth and you sit in the corner. They pay you for the event.
Just always telling the bride she's making a terrible mistake.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't know that. I didn't know that this was a thing.
Well, I've never seen a dream interpretation booth at a wedding, but sometimes they'll have like I've seen people have like a tattoo artist at their wedding. You know, they'll have
That's
just like
kinda cool.
a little fun, but yeah, with like little flash tattoos. It's like, yeah, fun little thing for your guests to do.
I think it's like instead of being at the wedding, it's like the night before the wedding. We're sneaking into people's rooms and shaking them awake and asking them what they were just dreaming about. And it's like a service that we provide to the guests that will attend the wedding the next day. Can definitely seed drama to play out the following day. Stuff
Yeah,
that'll-
we got to plant the drama seeds the night before.
Yeah, and eventually one of those people will be uber rich, and our interpretation will help them through some major life event, and they'll feel a divine duty to pay our bills.
That's how we make it big, guys.
I would love to get into like a Rasputin kind of place.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Where like some emperor is always coming to me with their problems, and I have to read the chicken bones to tell them like what needs to happen next. That's kind of my ideal job, to be honest.
Rasputin.
I think I need to act a lot crazier than I do to get a gig like that. Gotta put on airs of being fucking crazy to be able to get that kind of gig.
Yeah, even then, if there's a lot of luck involved. But you got to be the right type of crazy at the right place and time.
That's true. People discount that Rasputin had luck and talent going for him. You know, you gotta have the intersection of those things.
And a big-
hard work meets opportunity.
And a big old hog. That was a big part of it. I heard
That's true.
on a podcast.
Fun facts.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Apparently, it's like preserved in formaldehyde somewhere in a jar, like in a museum.
How did they find a jar that size?
I assume it shrunk.
Zach, were you here for the murder hornets?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've been having murder hornet dreams this week.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, not that I don't know if we're interpreting dreams today. We don't have to, but just fun fact: in 2020, this invasive species of hornets from like somewhere in Asia, I think, showed up in Washington State, and they were calling them murder hornets
Yeah.
because they were giant and murderous, I guess.
Yeah, they showed up in Washington around the same time as something else that came from Asia.
That's right. That's true. Wasn't it around the same time?
Yeah.
Mm.
Those were the two
Yeah.
big news items, was COVID and
I remember
Murder
us
hornets.
talking about the murder hornets, and then we were not talking about murder hornets at all.
Feels like murder hornets fizzled out, and if I had to choose between one or the other, I'm glad we got COVID.
yeah.
I'm telling you, if murder hornets were as widespread of a problem as COVID, it
That's what
would've-
I'm saying.
Yeah, so you're having wildly outdated dreams.
Yeah, no, it just seemed like out of nowhere that was relevant. 4 years ago?
Yeah, I don't know what did we solve the murder hornet problem?
I think-
I'm not
I
seeing
think COVID killed them.
They all
They
got
didn't have
COVID.
masks small enough.
When I was trying to picture murder hornets on the scale of COVID, it was like every time someone goes into the grocery store, the door opens and a bunch of murder hornets get in. It's like, hey, get in here quick. What are you doing?
Like, did you ever see those animations of like the cloud of COVID around one person in a crowd, like
Mhm.
to like illustrate the airborne
Like pig
spread?
pen.
It's that,
It's
but
like
just
a dozen
hornets.
giant hornets.
It feels like a premise of a Stephen King book. But yeah, I don't know. Was it COVID? Because like everyone, like the ecosystem kind of changed because everyone was inside and not, stirring up nature. So like maybe the murder hornets got here just in time to not find a hospitable environment.
It looks like It looks like there are like some updates, but not anything like no bad news. It's just like I guess they're not as big of a problem as people thought they were going to be.
But if you had these dreams in 2020,
In 2000, it would have been prophetic.
yeah,
And I would
That
have
would've
been
been crazy.
in kindergarten.
yeah, your teacher would have been like, "Sure thing, Olivia, murder hornets." No, if you'd had it in 2020, it would feel like you were just thinking about the news before bed.
Right.
What is the significance of dreaming about? I doubt murder hornets are in the dream Bible, but
No, it's funny because like there's hornets, but like murder hornets are such a specific thing to hear. I mean, I guess it could just be worse than a hornet, right? Like we're talking about that, like in the dream Bible, sometimes it's like if you dream of a dog, it means this. If you dream of a really big dog, it means this, but like a lot.
right.
Yeah, if you look at just the hornet entry, it says to dream of a hornet represents a person or situation that is a lingering threat or problem that is lying beneath the surface. You may have a fear of reprisal for standing up for yourself, or concerns about a situation getting out of control, which is how I feel about murder hornets. I fear reprisal. I think it could get out of control.
Yeah. I looked up murder, but there's nothing. It's all about to dream of being murdered, to dream of murdering, attempted murder, to dream of murdering an entire family. Jesus. None of that seems applicable.
In my second murder hornet dream, they were like, I had like conflicted feelings about him because they were like kind of cute. They kind of looked like giant bumblebees. And then one of them like fell out of the ceiling and it was like a puppy, but with with a stinger. And I was like, oh, it's just, well, I guess it is a hornet. I shouldn't like.
But it looked like a
cuddle it,
puppy?
but yeah, it looked like a little brown puppy.
Did it still have a big stinger?
Yeah, it had a big bee butt and a stinger.
I've had that weird hybrid thing happen in dreams before too, where like an animal is, especially an insect. I'm thinking of a moth. I had a dream about a bunch of moths in a bedroom, and you know how like the bigger moths can be really like fuzzy,
Yeah,
and almost kind of cute.
they're cute. Yeah.
They were like that, but I looked closely, and they were more like mice with wings.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah, I'm into that, actually.
It was cute.
And he doesn't like mice.
No.
He doesn't like their little hands.
Okay, that's any small creature. Something about little hands. That's got nothing to do with mice specifically.
I think that's part of what makes them so cute. Little
Yeah, I don't
grabbers.
like their little tiny hands.
I mean, they're cute at a distance. I just don't like the idea of them like touching me, Don't touch me with your little hands. Get away from me.
Yeah, my apartment in LA had a mice infestation at one point, and that them being adorable was part of what made it so terrible. Because it's like it's a problem like that you could get sick if they shit in the pans, or your cookware. Like
Yeah, and your solution is usually you gotta,
yeah.
They're just full on doing Cinderella shit. They're like sewing you a dress, and you're like, no, you're getting shit all over everything. I can't. This is toxic.
That was the problem. Before the mice, we had roaches, and I actually preferred that because I could just spray poison, step on them when I saw them. Like I didn't feel any qualms about just getting rid of them wholesale.
Mice are looking at you with these big eyes.
It's like
their lips quivering.
It's like this delicate problem that has even more consequences than roaches if you don't solve it.
Please, sir, just a bit of cheese.
Little Dickensian mice. Yeah, it was for a while. I was catching them in a tube thing, and then I would let them go in this nearby neighborhood that had a lot of cats.
A tube
Let the
thing?
cats deal with them.
Yeah, circle of life.
Yeah.
So I didn't want them to make their way back to like a nest or whatever.
How did you catch them in a tube?
Oh, I mean, it was like a tube. It was made to be a humane mouse trap.
Okay.
But it was shaped like a tube. And then
I pictured you with like a test tube, like running around trying to
just scooping them up. I did corner one time and catch it with like a bowl. But most of the time I had to lure them into the tube with peanut butter.
I think I saw like some makeshift trap like that where like it's like a greasy bowl or something. So it's like they'll
Slippery.
get into it to get like some food that's in there, and then they can't climb their way out of it because their hands are it's like too slippery to climb out. Seems kind of fucked up. That's one way to do it.
As long as you can release them.
Yeah.
My roommate got the like sticky paper.
Oh, that shit is so cruel.
I know. And
Seems bad.
yeah, and we caught one time and it made me very sad. I was like, we should just like gotten the one that snaps its neck. Like,
Yeah, that's so much more humane than the sticky stuff.
Get like a little guillotine.
Yeah, that would be better too.
A little French piece of cheese in the basket.
She has resting scream face.
Yeah. She's like, give me
Yeah.
a reason.
I'm gonna scream.
She likes when we do little dances.
Mm-hmm.
She's all about that. She likes the back pats. She's a fan of that.
Mm-hmm. Who isn't?
She hates having her diaper changed.
Hates that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird that she looked like she was screaming. I thought Zoom was like dropping the audio.
Okay. That's the I am gonna scream
Yeah.
sound.
That's her like gearing up to scream.
I'm gonna check her diaper.
Okay. Maybe we break. Try and meet back here in a little bit.
Okay.
It turned out it was Boob o'clock.
Oh, she's getting.
That's a surefire way to get her to stop screaming most of the time. Just topping her off.
See? Easy. To
Oh,
be fair, when we say easy, we mean it's easy if you're not trying to do anything else. If it's the
Right.
only thing you're doing, then it's totally fine. If you have any conflicting activity or interest, then it's a little more complicated.
It's also like easy if you're expecting like to be super sleep deprived and like hate your life.
Right. Get up like several times a night and kind of constantly be occupied with it. Yeah.
When I say she sleeps through the night, I mean she sleeps 2 4-hour stretches. So I'm still getting up twice in the night.
We're grateful for those 4-hour stretches.
Yeah, but that's like
Yeah, that's-
super good.
that's not terrible.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
not bad.
But it's for a baby that's not even a month old to be doing that is rare.
Did you have to go straight back to work, Victor?
No, I've been able to be on leave this whole time. So I go back on Wednesday.
Okay.
But I've been able to give my full attention to Olivia and the baby this whole time. So, I've been golfing. I've been just kind of going out, just driving around, just being me,
He's gotten into baking scones.
That's true. I've been baking a lot of scones lately. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of Olivia has one job and I have the other jobs. But I don't know. You've also started taking on more stuff lately. Like you made breakfast this morning and everything. Like
Yeah, it's not so bad. I do have to like drop everything to feed the baby a lot, but
Yeah.
like it's not that bad.
No, it's really not that bad.
It's pretty manageable.
It's very manageable, and I'm really grateful to have like a work from home job.
Mhm.
So when I go back, I'm still going to be able to like be here and help out. And yeah, I think we got this.
Yeah.
Got this locked down.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Don't know what all the fuss was about.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, do we want a baby? No, maybe we don't want, but oh, do we want the freedom? It's fine.
We better
totally
dream
fine.
about it for a season of the pod.
Oh no, we'll have to stay home every night and watch TV. Oh no. We weren't definitely already doing that.
I can see how it would be hard if you're like someone who likes to go out and do a lot of things. We're homebodies most of the time. Like there's stuff that we like to do and there's stuff we'll probably have a harder time doing with the baby. But like, we're not going out and like staying out super late. Like, if you're someone who likes to like go out to the bars or whatever, like you might have a really hard time giving that up.
Yeah, well, that
like-
just sounds like not ready
Yeah.
for.
Sure, yeah. Well, like I guess I just mean like if you're like someone who likes to go socialize at night, that's
Mhm.
something you kind of can't do with a baby, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it hasn't been that bad. It's gonna be harder when I go back to work, but I feel like we've been able to keep the house running just fine. I've been cooking. Instead, we thought it was going to be like, oh, we're going to live on frozen food because we're going to be so sleep deprived and so exhausted we won't have time for anything else. I've been doing like elaborate cooking,
And
we've got all
baking.
that frozen food when we need it, but it's been fine.
I would say my biggest like tip is to have really low expectations of your baby.
Oh yeah,
Expect them to be terrible like for a while and expect not to get sleep, because we were like, okay, we're not going to sleep. I'm probably going to be super depressed.
yeah.
I don't know what that's like. I'm going to have like crazy hormones. I feel fine. But like that, any number of those things could have happened, and we were prepared
Yeah.
for it
maybe
to suck.
Maybe that's why everyone
Yeah.
told you it was going to be a nightmare, so that it would be comparatively easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they weren't being rude.
No.
Maybe it was altruistic.
I think it was a nightmare for a lot of people.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
taught Olivia how to change a diaper.
Yeah, he was changing all the diapers for like
Oh, really?
a week. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You let me just rest. That's
Do you have to
It's probably
read a book, or does that come natural too?
we
Are diapers
we spent-
intuitive?
We ended up spending like 2 nights in the hospital, and that was really good for like having just people that knew what to do with babies around for
yeah, the
like a
nurses
day.
were really, really helpful.
Like I learned how to change a diaper, I learned how to swaddle a baby, and I learned a lot about just like how to have a baby in that first day in the hospital, and that was enough to get us through once we went home,
Yeah, and there was a lot of like feeding support too.
Yeah.
She had a tongue tie that we had to get revised there.
A
Which
tongue
is just
tie?
like, yeah, it's when the little string under your tongue is like too tight
Mm-hmm.
and it holds your tongue down. So like she didn't have as much like flexion in her tongue.
Yeah, like your tongue's constrained.
Restricted, yeah.
Is that where that expression comes from?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. But so it was affecting her ability to eat, and so they had to
They
snip
have to
it.
snip it.
Hmm.
But I guess so. They did it right there in the hospital, and the guy that did it, there was no blood, and then he said he's never seen this before, but as soon as he did it, she like stuck her tongue out at him. I haven't been dreaming at all though. Olivia's been dreaming. I'm still not dreaming.
I haven't been recording them that very well, but
Yeah, it's okay. Like I said, I'm picking up that slack. I'm actually writing down my dreams for the first time in a long time.
Is there any kind of theme that's emerging
yeah, I was
that you've
wondering
noticed?
about that. Do you have any themes?
Yeah. Well, since I quit drinking, there's been drinks in pretty much all of my dreams.
Really? Huh.
For a while, it was all. There seems to be a progression in that too. Like for a while, it was all dreams where I was like halfway through, like drinking a lot, like, and then I would remember and be like, fuck, I wasn't supposed. I'm going to be in so much trouble. Or not even like in trouble, but like I would just feel like I fucked up. And I remember that being a thing when I became a vegetarian at like 14 years old. For the first couple of years, I had a lot of dreams where I would just be like halfway through eating chicken and suddenly remember that I wasn't supposed to do that anymore. And I would be really upset and grossed out and ashamed. And at first, the drinking dreams were like that. And then they sort of progressed into like, I remember one a few weeks ago where I was at a bar and I had drank one beer and I ordered another one from the bartender. And as he turned around, then I remembered and I was like, oh, well, if I stop now, like one beer isn't too bad of a mistake, and I just closed out my tab. And then just like last night, there was like somebody handed me a beer in a dream, and I like opened it and then remembered and then put it back down. So there's been this weird progression of like cognition, I guess, of like reframing my subconscious relationship with it, I guess. But I don't know if it's like persistently showing up in my dreams more often because I'm not drinking, or if it's always been there and like as a matter of like habit, and I'm having to reframe that habit.
I feel like I've definitely had those kinds of dreams where like you do something that would like fuck up your life when you're awake, and you wake up like, oh, what have I done? And like you experience that like shame and regret, and then you come to and you're like, oh wait, no, that didn't actually happen. Everything's good. Like I do feel like something about that is like reinforcing your commitment to the thing that you're doing. It's like your brain kind of trying to experience consequences of like slipping off the path that you're on. You got a barky dog.
Oh, is that the dog?
That's the dog. She's barking in her like incredibly echoey hallway.
I could barely hear it through Zoom.
Oh,
but
good.
yeah, no, I think that's pretty
Go,
common with any type of like quitting anything. The relapse dream.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can do like a heist, like the three of us. Well, actually, the four of us, Violet can come along. Like just like one big job, you know, and then we never have to worry about anything again.
What are we stealing?
Mark Cuban.
Himself?
Yep.
Heisting a human? I think that's just called kidnapping. And then we all steal his identity.
There you go.
And four Mark Cubans.
We are Mark Cuban. And Mark Cuban has a podcast.
And he lives in our shop now.
But yeah, other than that theme, they've kind of been all over the place. Restaurants was a theme. I was dreaming of restaurants a lot.
Interesting.
Which I looked up at the time, and I don't remember what. I guess I could pull it up again. It felt fitting for the situation I'm in right now. To dream of a restaurant represents feelings about how easy it is to be served particular feelings or experiences. Consciously making the choice to feel a certain way or to easily have a certain type of experience. Yeah, and I was correlating that to like this kind of incubation period that I was talking about, where it's not as like dog eat dog anymore, and life has kind of slowed way down to the point where I can make deliberate decisions and careful decisions kind of based on like long-term happiness rather than short-term survival.
How does that feel? Like, how do you feel about that shift? Like, because you were running, you know, emotionally for a really long time, and you've put yourself in a place where it's like you breathe now. There isn't like the same kind of running in one direction or like, you know, desperately trying to like grab onto the next. It's a big shift. Like, how are you experiencing that?
On the surface, it's unnerving. Like most of the time I feel unnerved and anxious about it.
I think that's what it would do for me. I have the same kind of drive that you have.
Yeah.
The same kind of, like, it's not, I don't think it comes from a healthy place, but I've got the same thing.
Because that's what it feels like, bubbling at the surface at all times. When I sit down, when I like take a breather, like go for a run and then sit down outside and breathe for a minute and like kind of meditate and really think about it, I realize that it's a good place to be, and I can tap into the feeling of that.
Yeah.
But there's so much bullshit I have to get past to tap into that. Because even I'm supposed to start a job on the 10th, which is like 2 weeks from now. And it's just like, it's a mail carrier job. It's like 12 hours a day just delivering mail. And I accepted the job because I just want to stop the bleeding financially. But even Shelby doesn't want me to take it, even though she's the only one working right now. She's like, you're going to be miserable. You're just doing this because you are anxious about all the time on your hands and feeling like a failure. And technically, we don't need me to take it. But like, I feel like I need to pitch on groceries. Like I can't sit. I don't know. I think she has some good points, but
Well, I mean, what's nice is you have flexibility, right? So like you can try something
Mm-hmm.
and it's an experience and it doesn't change your life. It's not like you're already in a place where you're looking for the next thing. So if you change your mind, you don't show up on Monday or whatever. That's a choice you made. That's an experience you had. You show up, you'd work for a day and you quit. Different story, but same deal, like taking a job doesn't mean, and then I have to spend 5 years at this job,
Yeah.
Yeah. It just is what it is. I don't know. You don't have to like put pressure on yourself to have made a life decision, just because you're trying something out.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like I need to keep ruminating on what the like next big move is. And that could come to me while I'm sitting in a mail truck just as easily as it could come to me while I'm sitting at home. And it would really ease the internal angst of needing to like contribute. But that's probably not coming from a healthy place. But it's also, I don't know. I feel like it's good to not want to be a deadbeat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if you try this and it's not the right fit for you, you can walk away at any time.
Yeah.
And then you're probably going to have a new appreciation for what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I think Shelby's fear is that I won't walk away, that I'll just keep doing it and being miserable, and that the long hours will keep me from figuring out what I actually want to do because I'll be tired all the time. But
do you think you're going to do that?
I've done that in the past.
Well,
why would you do that though? Because you have some autonomy here. So like, what would make you do that?
Just the fear of being like judged for quitting without like a better plan in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so don't do that. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Does that, I feel like what you're saying is you think that would be a mistake to just like keep chugging along long term if you're miserable and it's draining your ability to figure out a new plan. So like, just don't.
Yeah.
Treat it like a trial period. Like you're gonna give the USPS a week of your time or whatever, just to try it.
Yeah.
You might like it. I don't know. Or it might
that would be
give you-
cool if it turned out to be my calling. It wouldn't be like an exciting calling, but government retirement.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There are benefits to doing a job like that.
I
So
wouldn't mind a job that's like solitary like that, Like one of the jobs that I had was like I was working on a farm. It was before the job I had before the job we had together, Zach. And it was like I never saw anybody. I was just like walking around feeding horses and filling troughs, and it was like so nice. I really liked that job because it didn't drain my social battery as like an introvert,
Yeah, that was the appeal of it to me. It was kind of being on my own, and I would rather walk around than sit.
Yeah. Yeah, you might like it. Who knows?
Yeah, my only fear is that the hours might be brutal. But the fear with that is like not having time to do things like this or music, passions. But I don't know, having less time and more energy because of the social battery thing you were just talking about might be better than like a 9-to-5 that leaves me feeling like I can't do anything but watch TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just like go into it remembering that you have a lot of autonomy. Like sometimes you end up in a situation where you have to work. You need the job. You cannot miss a paycheck.
That's what the last 4 years were like. Yeah.
Right. And you're not in that situation. You can miss a paycheck or several if you have to, So like operate that way. Don't operate like you're desperate because you're not,
Right. I think it's what the restaurant dream was trying to tell me.
What about that? What happened in the dream that makes you say that?
Oh, well, I mean, it was a series of dreams. That was a theme that was coming up was restaurants. And the dream Bible entry that I just read about it had to do with like being in a more comfortable place where like things are being served to you.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. It's like because you have the breathing room to make decisions and not stick with them or to try something out and then move on to a different thing or whatever. Like that's probably, like you said, more freedom than you've had for 4 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so you're at a restaurant, you know, like,
Yeah. Oh, and the seafood. These were all seafood restaurants, and the seafood entry is all about like victory and like success.
that's awesome.
So that's part of why I was interpreting it to be like, you know, being served success. This feels like an opportunity to like achieve things by slowing down, by virtue of things being less hectic. It's natural to feel like stagnant when things slow down, but time to like think and make decisions based on more than just like cutthroat survival.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, part of being able to have this experience of becoming a parent with Olivia and something that I need to wrap my head around better, and the thing that we have in common is like it's easy to get sucked into the like trying to like, man, barking dogs. It's easy to get sucked into trying to you know, check boxes off of like life accomplishments, or like, oh, I have this successful whatever, or like I have a career that looks good to strangers that I meet at a party or whatever. But like that isn't ultimately what life is about. You know, that's not ultimately the thing that's going to bring you happiness. It's people and relationships and community and doing things for others. That is where you're actually going to find, you know, lasting, meaningful joy, you know? So like give yourself the breathing room to do those things, to be with Shelby, you know, and be with your friends and be with your family and connect with people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the job stuff will work itself out. You're a smart guy. You're a capable guy. You'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks.
Oh, okay.
All right. The dogs are barking. The baby's barfing.
That's a lot going on. Well, good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's good to see and talk to you guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
glad everything is manageable.
Yeah, you know, there are moments of chaos, but it's going pretty good.
Yeah.
We will continue to make time for this. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm going to go give our dogs away to somebody.
Yeah. And now
It's not my problem anymore.
this whole time we've been dreaming about whether or not to have a baby and career stuff, you know, respectively. So I'm excited to see I feel like we're about to enter a new chapter of the podcast where we'll
Yeah.
dream about new stuff because those things have all
Yep.
undergone changes.
totally.
Yeah.
So
That's it's season 2 of T-Jar.
thank you for listening to The Young and the Restless.
You can follow us on social media at The Jung and the Restless Pod and submit your dreams for interpretation to thejungandtherestlesspod at Gmail.
And as we always say,
Goo goo gaga, motherfuckers.
Pick you a tiger.